The first job I ever applied to, I remember getting a hard, solid no in reply. But that no came with feedback, which I took seriously, and I'm glad I did. But it made me curious. What else was I doing wrong? And this curiosity is what led me to learn how to write a proper resume. After editing my resume to avoid some common mistakes, which I didn't even know I was making, I landed my first remote job as a virtual assistant. Fast forward 2 years, I began working as a human resource virtual assistant. And if there's one thing I noticed, it's this. Over 90% of people applying to remote jobs make the same mistakes that I made in my resume at the start of my career. And that's why they get rejected. So what are these mistakes and how can you avoid them? Let's get into it. Mistake number 1 is not learning how to write a resume. No one is born knowing how to write a resume. You learn it. So even if you think that your resume is fine, there might be some small errors that are costing you big opportunities. So watch videos, read blogs, and learn from other people's success stories, especially people who struggled at first before getting it right. Those people know both sides of the story, and so they can tell you exactly what works and what doesn't. I think I even took a course on how to write a resume, but don't worry, you don't have to, because I'll tell you everything I learned that you should not do in this video. But it helps to do your own research too. So a quick note, there's a difference between a resume and a CV. You might still be using what your aunties and uncles used to go and make in the cyber cafe back in the day, but that's outdated now and will not work for remote jobs. So you need to learn how to write a resume. But you're doing it now. This is you learning watching this video. So you're on track. Mistake number 2 is not tailoring your resume to the job that you're applying to. This one is huge. I'll give you an example. When I eventually transitioned from a virtual assistant to a digital designer, my old resume was full of virtual assistant roles. There was a social media virtual assistant role, a HR virtual assistant role, a digital marketing virtual assistant role. But none of these helped when I was applying to digital design or web design roles. So what did I do? I restructured my resume to highlight my design-related freelance and contract work. Even some free jobs that I did on the side, because they were relevant. Those were the experiences I centered my resume around. Because all my VA history, no matter how fancy it sounded, did not relate to the design role that I was looking for. The hard truth is, if a recruiter is looking for a designer, they don't care about your virtual assistant experience. Also, when writing your resume, take keywords from the job description of the job that you're applying to, like skills, tools, and specific experiences that the company is looking for, and highlight them in your resume. So Vicky, does that mean that I should edit my resume for every single job that I apply to? Yep, you nailed it. Tailor your resume to every single application. The third mistake is poor structure or missing key sections in your resume. A mistake a lot of people make is starting with a long, boring bio or your education from 10 years ago. Instead, structure your resume like this. Start with your name and surname written boldly at the top, not your nickname or pet name. Then follow that with a short bio, 2 to 3 lines max, that summarizes who you are as a professional and what you bring to the table. If you like, go and say you're at the table. Then follow that with a section that highlights your career background or work experience and include dates, or at least time ranges in months. This is your main section in the entire resume, so spend time on this section. After that, highlight your technical skills. You can also highlight soft skills, but note that the technical skills are more important at this stage. Then you can follow by a section that highlights your education and certifications with relevant dates. You don't necessarily need to include your primary or secondary education. Your tertiary education and certifications are what are most important here. And then you can round off with your contact information and maybe your social media if you wish. You can also choose to put your contact info at the very top of your resume if you can keep it in one line and it won't look tacky or occupy too much space. This is a very basic and simple structure that can work for any type of resume. Mistake number 4 is not highlighting your achievements using metrics. The idea is for your experience section to not just highlight what you did, but to also show the impact that you made. So for example, instead of saying, I managed the company's social media accounts. You can say instead, I manage the company's X account, growing its active online audience by 30% within a space of 4 months. Or instead of just saying, I designed engaging marketing graphics, you can say, I designed marketing graphics for email campaigns that led to a 20% boost in click-through rates over a period of 3 months. Your achievements don't have to be fancy or anything. You just need to show that you cared enough to set goals, work towards those goals, and keep track of the results. Mistake number 5 is putting in unnecessary information in your resume. Like I said earlier, your resume is not a CV. Your resume is meant to be concise with only information that matters for that particular job that you are applying to. Think about it like this. Your resume should answer this one question. What have you done in your life that has prepared you for this job? That's it. You don't need to state your primary school experience or every single certificate that you've gotten online or any unrelated work history. If an experience or skill hasn't prepared you for the role that you're applying to, then it's not necessary in your resume. Just keep it concise and relevant. By the way, you can download my free resume template that will guide you in crafting a solid resume that will help you to stand out if you're looking to get your first remote job. It's linked in the description below. Also, I'll be putting together a resource kit with tools, resources, and guides to help you land your very first remote job. And so if you're interested in being one of the first people to know when that resource kit is ready, use the second link in the description below to register your name and email, and I will personally contact you once it's launched. All right, let's get back to the mistakes you have been making in your resumes. No shade, no shade. Mistake number 6 is using too many buzzwords. You want to avoid sounding so verbose or like ChatGPT, or using so many buzzy or cliche words like go-getter, results-driven, value-oriented, and stuff like that. Also, avoid unnecessary big grammar. Just use simple and clear words. There's this politician that always uses big grammar every time he's talking, and most people usually don't even understand what he's saying. So grammar, 100%, communication, 0. You're not trying to flex your grammar in your resume. You're trying to communicate to the recruiter. So don't be that guy. Like I've said, your resume should communicate what you've done and why it makes you a good fit for the job. That's it. Mistake number 7 is highlighting only your soft skills and not your technical skills. Soft skills like good communicator, team player, they're nice. But what tools do you actually know how to use? What can you do? What technical skills do you have? So examples of technical skills are Photoshop manipulation, illustration, video editing, Excel programming, SEO writing. Skills like that are technical skills. You want to highlight your technical skills clearly and lay more emphasis on them than your soft skills. Soft skills are also very important, but they will usually play out during your probation period if you get the job. But the hard skills or technical skills are what will get you the job in the first place. So in this stage, you want to focus on highlighting those. Mistake number 8 is having a very scanty or overly long resume. Try to keep your resume between 1 to 3 pages. Notice I said 1 page, not half a page. Amaka, if your resume is too short, it won't have enough information for the recruiters to work with. And if it's too long, then the recruiter will get tired on page 3. So what's the point of the extra pages? And if you're struggling with your resume being too short, even if you don't have real work experiences, you can include portfolio projects, volunteer experiences, school projects, or even dummy self-assigned jobs. I don't say you should lie you. I said dummy self-assigned jobs that you actually did, not that you just made up, okay? I talked about this in my video on how I got my very first remote job. I'll link it somewhere up here, so you can check it out if you need to. So yeah, stop submitting scanty resumes, okay? Mistake number 9 is not linking your portfolio and your LinkedIn profile inside your resume, or using links that are too long or broken. Usually, if your resume stands out, the recruiters will want to learn more about you. Don't make it hard for them. Link your LinkedIn profile and your portfolio website inside your resume, ideally in the section where you have your contact information. So you have to make sure that your LinkedIn and your portfolio are well optimized for the job that you are applying to before linking them in your resume. Also, make the links clickable. So don't just write out the link. Instead, make sure that when someone clicks the link, it actually takes them to the right place. And avoid using phrases like click here to view my resume. Instead, spell out the link. I'll show you what I mean here. So this is my portfolio link, and I'm going to spell it out on the document here and embed it on the text that I just spelled out so that it can be clicked directly from the resume and it will take them to my portfolio. So this way, by spelling it out and also making it clickable, you make it easy for a recruiter to click to your portfolio or your LinkedIn profile. But if the recruitment software for some reason disables your link, it's also spelled out so they can copy the link and paste it into a web browser and still land in the right place. And if your links are too long that you feel that they will look messy in your resume, then you can use a URL shortener like tinyurl. Mistake number 10 is not checking for grammar and spelling errors before sending your resume. Little mistakes like forgetting to use title case or all caps for section headings or forgetting to punctuate can make a recruiter scroll past your resume. These people have a lot of resumes to run through within a short period of time. So trust me, they're not spending too much time on yours. And it may be unfair, but sometimes very little mistakes like this can throw them off and they will just move on to the next resume. So they might seem minor, but they matter a lot. Punctuation, spelling, and grammar errors in your resume also speaks to a lack of attention to detail on your part. Mistakes make you look careless, so try as much as possible to avoid them. To catch such mistakes in my resume before sending it out, I would usually use Grammarly. It makes my life a lot easier because it just highlights all spelling errors and punctuation errors, and you can easily fix them. Another thing you can do is export your resume as a PDF and then upload it to ChatGPT to check for spelling and grammar errors. ChatGPT does a great job with editing resumes, and sometimes it will even give you pointers on how to improve your resume. I've said the word resume about 1,000 times today. Okay, that's tip number 10, but I'm going to give you one bonus tip. And just because it's a bonus doesn't make it any less important, because it's actually one of the very costly mistakes that a lot of people make. And that is submitting your resume in the wrong format. A lot of people make this mistake of submitting their resumes in Word format or docx. That is any file that has the .docx extension. Some people even take a screenshot and submit an image as a resume. You want to avoid these because many recruitment softwares do not support Word formats. And if that's the case, then your resume won't be displayed in the software. And the recruiter will either need to download it to their computer to review it. At this point, they're already stressing them. That's if they don't just skip your application altogether. So instead, save your resume in PDF format. After editing in Word or Google Docs or Canva or wherever, download it as a PDF file. PDF is a universally recognized format across recruitment softwares, so it can be read on the software without downloading. Okay, I'll give you another bonus tip. Avoid using fancy fonts or shouty colors in your resume. Remember, you're trying to communicate, so anything that hinders you from doing that, avoid. So use clear and easy to read fonts. Avoid cursive, handwritten, or dramatic fonts. Also, make your headings bold and maybe a slightly different neutral color from the rest of the text. So it's very advisable to stick with neutral colors all through your resume. Colors like black, white, gray, off-white, they work. But avoid bold colors like red, yellow, just play it safe and stick to neutral colors. Like I said, recruiters spend a few seconds to a few minutes scanning through your resume. If it's not readable, they'll skip. In summary, job recruiters are busy. They are usually scanning through piles of low-quality applications, hoping to find one good one every now and then. So try to be that breath of fresh air. Let your resume be that one that makes them say, finally, somebody we can actually consider, not the one that makes them sigh and take an early lunch break. Anyway, let me know in the comments if you want me to make a video on common mistakes that people make when applying to remote jobs generally and not just in the resume. If I get more than 5 requests in the comments, I'll make that video and link it up here. And don't forget to grab a copy of my free resume template that will help you craft a solid resume that actually gets you the job. It's linked in the description below. If you're new here, you're very welcome. I'm Vicky Johnson, and I'm sharing my journey making a living on the internet through remote work and freelancing. So if you found this video helpful, smash the like button. I promise you it actually helps out a lot. Also, if you could do me a favor and share this video with someone who's looking to land a remote job, you will be my MVP viewer of the day. And lastly, subscribe for more videos like this. No, that's not lastly, that's second to the lastly. So the actual lastly is comment below. What are you going to comment? Leave your thoughts, leave your questions. Let me know what you had for lunch. Just type something, please type something in the comments below. Thank you for watching to the end. You're a real one. Other people that did not watch to the end, you can go and collect your thank you from your president. You're welcome. Brother beg. Oh, Jesus Christ, Vicky, this is the only time you should gather yourself together. Oh, so biscuit. Include portfolio. You can include. Charlie, why is Charlie punching the door? God, Jesus.